So hello everyone, my name is Dhruv.
And I'm Suman, and we are the host of today's talk show. Today's society, one's social identity, that is caste, class, gender, sexuality, race, etc., determines a person's position in society. It determines a person's access to resources. The lack of inclusivity in education as well as corporate sector clearly justifies it. It is very important to understand these dynamics if you wish to enter the field of social entrepreneurship.
Like I totally agree with Suman. So today we will be discussing about one such dynamic of identity, that is gender. Today we will talk about gender, but not gender binaries. So if you still couldn't figure out what we are going to talk about, then stay tuned till the end because you will definitely get to learn a lot today. So let me introduce you all to today's guest speaker, Miss Ankita Arya. She is the post-placement and sensitization associate at PeriFerry, an organization that facilitates sustainable livelihood to transgender persons and fostering LGBTQIA plus equity at workplace.
She herself is a graduate from PeriFerry's Revive Residential Corporate Training Program. She is now working with PeriFerry with corporate partners of PeriFerry to improve the sensitization module so as to build inclusive workspaces. Welcome, ma'am. We are really honored to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor for me to be here and talk about the experiences we have every day. So thank you so much.
So, ma'am, I guess the best way to start a talk show is obviously to know about you, your early life, your childhood, your organization, and your education too. So, it would be great if you can just share this with us.
Sure. So let me just get started with introducing myself. Hello everyone, I'm Ankita Arya. I'm an out and proud trans woman and I go with the pronouns she and her. So I work at a company named uh, PeriFerry, which is a social enterprise, and PeriFerry solely works towards making transgender livelihoods sustainable by providing job opportunities and training to the transgender individuals. Apart from that, I was also a part of the PeriFerry's training program, and because of that only, I'm here and I'm speaking with you all.
Good to know you much about you, ma'am, and this whole journey of yours. Moving to our next question, ma'am, you have been with PeriFerry not just as a head managing the affairs, but your journey with it began earlier as a beneficiary, I would say. You yourself are a graduate from PeriFerry's corporate training program. So, how was your experience back then as a part of that program, and how you feel about this shift or transition in the roles? And it would be great if you can also tell in brief about PeriFerry and your work or position of responsibilities here.
Sure. So let me start from the beginning. When I got graduation, when I graduated from my college, I was looking for a job, and as a transgender person, finding a job is very difficult because not everyone sees you how you see yourself. Not everybody accepts you how you accept yourself, and because of that only, I was not allowed in a lot of organizations. I was not allowed to interview to the interviews, to give the interviews. I was not allowed to fit in some of the roles just because because of my identity, because I was a transgender woman. And when I left my home, I left with ambition. I wanted to achieve something. I wanted to stand on my feet. And I wanted to show the world that even if I'm a transgender person, that doesn't mean that I only have to go for sex work or begging. I wanted to justify that every transgender person has potential to work in every field. And with that aim, I went hunting for a job. But just because my identity, I couldn't get any of that. And then I thought that I should not reveal my identity to all of the people because that is making it hard for me to get a job. That's why I started looking for a job with my old identity, with a man's identity, I would say. So, and that day I also found a job. I found a job in Chennai, and I was working there for 3 months of my life, and I was pretty well in my job. I used to devote all of my hard work, all of my efforts into making the job like effortless. But still, I was not acknowledged by my manager. They treated me like I'm different. I'm not good enough, just like other people, just because of my identity. Uh, by my documents, they didn't get to know like I'm a transgender person, but by the way I look, the way I behave, the way I sound, all of that was like pretty different from the rest of the crowd. And that's how they got to know that I'm a transgender individual. And that day, my manager told that, hey, we cannot have you in the organization, we cannot have you in the workplace because other people feel uncomfortable because of you. And that was very shattering for me because having a job is something which gives dignity to a person. And just because I had no option left, I felt very, what do I say? I was very demotivated. I didn't know where I should head towards. And that time I did some research and I got to know about PeriFerry, which is a social organization. But that time I had a lot of questions in my mind. Is this organization trustworthy? What if this organization is a fake? What if they take benefits out of the transgender person? And with all of it, because I had no option left, I still went to PeriFerry to take the residential training. And when I arrived at PeriFerry's gate, the training center's gate, I for the first time in my life, I uh, I experienced the acceptance in the space. For the first time in my life, nobody asked me what your gender is. Nobody asked me like, why do you look a certain way? Why do you not fit in the binaries? And I was very happy with that because that acceptance gave me freedom, freedom to think, freedom to grow, and freedom to learn. And because of that, and after that, I was told that the training is going to be for 2 months. And after 2 months, according to my skill set, I'll be placed in an organization. And for those 2 months, I worked really hard. I gave all of myself into the training, and the training was also very helpful for me because there were trainers who made me feel like, hey, you're worth it. You are worth of working in a corporate. And I was told that, and I felt really well. They used to motivate us every other single day. They never make us feel like we are different. We are different from other people. They treated us normally, and that is something very huge because when you are accepting someone of like their identity, of their race, of their sexuality, it's a very huge step towards acceptance. And because of that only I was able to grow. And because of that only, PeriFerry offered me a job after 2 months of the training. They were like, Ankita, we see potential in you, potential to become a change maker in the society. And because of that only, they offered me a job, and now I'm here, like interviewing, like giving you a brief about my life in this session.
So like it's like a bit heartening to see how society perceives the trans community. It's really inspiring to see how you faced all those and still you like achieve the success you want. So
Yeah.
can you just explain in depth about the working of PeriFerry?
Yeah. So PeriFerry was founded in 2017 by the CEO of the company, Neelan Jain. And that time she was working in a company, and she encountered during a project she encountered a few transgender folks who were highly educated, but they were still not employed in any company. That need of like the change in the society, the need of acknowledgement of these talented folks. And just because of their identity, they were not getting any job opportunity. And that was the time Neelam thought that she should work towards something. She should make these things happen, make these impossible things for which nobody was standing before happen. And that time, Neelam started PeriFerry with two partners, Nishant Agarwal and Trishala. So they were the three people who initially started, did the starting of PeriFerry. And with them, they started looking for the talented transgender individuals who are highly educated and who have like that potential to work in corporate. And they encounter a few of them, and they kind of ensure that they get that opportunity to interview in companies. But the challenge was the companies were not ready to provide jobs just because they were not very aware of what transgender means, because there was a lack of awareness among the people. They didn't know like what they are bringing in, what circumstances would come after hiring the transgender person. That's where there was a hesitance of like giving jobs to the community people. And that was a time when we ensured that we should also not only find job opportunities for the transgender person, but also spread awareness about the community, about what transgender spectrum is of, and how diverse is the LGBTQIA+ community. So that's how PeriFerry started. And right now we have come so far because we have trained about, we have upskilled about 370 plus in transgender individuals, and we have provided jobs to 300 plus transgender individuals. So that is a huge success for ourselves because we were able to make these many lives sustainable. And right now we provide residential training to the transgender individuals where they come to our training center, which is in Bangalore. And not only that, we take care of their food and the accommodation for the another 2 months, and we make sure that they go under like they take the training in a proper space where there is no discrimination and where they can upskill themselves to so that the transition of their lives to a corporate happen very smoothly. So after the completion of their training period, we get them interviewed in different corporate sectors where they get opportunity to give interviews and find a really good job for themselves. So that's how we function in this area. Other than that, we also work towards making the workspaces LGBTQIA+ inclusive by giving LGBTQIA+ sensitization workshops to different corporate organizations, so that all of the employees who are working in different companies are sensitized and are very aware of the LGBTQIA+ community. And when they hire a transgender person, there's no discrimination happening within the company level. Yeah. So that's how we are functioning right now.
Like that's really definitely a great job, and I just hope more and more organizations like this come up. And at one point, we just there's no need of such organization, and trans community can easily get the jobs and education without any discrimination. So I guess we are running a bit out of time. So before we conclude this talk, it would be great if you have some message to share with our audience, a message or a note or an expectation, like what we as an individual should do to bring the change in the society or change in its perception.
Yeah, sure. So I think all of these things, like the transphobia, the homophobia, all of these things came up just because of the lack of awareness within the society. So as an individual, it's all of our duty, all of our responsibility to pass on the right information, pass on the right uh, away the right terms and right concepts about the LGBTQIA+ community, because there are so many of misinformation out there in the society that transgender persons only are there for sex work or begging, and that kind of mentality leads to transphobia or homophobia, and that is the only reason why us, so many people like us are not getting accepted in so many of spaces, just because there's no awareness, there's lack of awareness. So it's a duty of ourselves to educate each and every person who is in our known about the LGBTQI+ community.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was lovely talking to you. And like, I hope and I believe that people who will listen to our podcast or who will watch our YouTube interview, they learn and like implement what they understand from this talk show. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was great having you on board.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. And it was really great for me to talk about all of these things. And the thing I really appreciate you guys for having this conversation, because these kind of things should be talked more and more. Yeah. So thank you for having me.